What's up guys, it's the Prince1098 bringing another video, and today we're going to be talking about how I think quirks work in the My Hero Academia universe. Of course I'm not going to be talking about every quirk, however I'm going to talk about my little theory on how quirks are formed and the little science behind it. But first, hey, what does the brother got to do to get an intro around here? So in the beginning of the first episode, our boy Izuku Midoriya is narrating to the audience of how this world of superpower inhabitants came to be. And the problem with his explanation is that it's really lackluster in terms of information, as all he really says is once upon a time some magical shiny baby popped out of someone's womb and all of a sudden everyone got superpowers. And that's fine to set up the basis of the show, but you'd think with such a world-changing event that there'd be more information circulating around it. But I guess that's where we come in. Now, in the series we are told that around 80% of the population has their own quirk, and we also come to find out that while a child is born with a quirk, it does not develop until later on as they grow up. So in other words, for example, a baby with a fire quirk is not going to burn its mother alive if she's trying to give birth to it. That would be unfortunate. So think of quirks being a lot like puberty, okay? No one's giving birth to a grown adult ready to they themselves reproduce on the spot. No, it's something that the child has to grow into, and the quirks themselves are no different. However, I digress. That's basically common information in the universe, and even the parents in the series have ways of finding out whether or not their child is destined to have a quirk. Though I do bring that up because of the events that unfolded in the latest chapter of the My Hero Academia manga. Yes, we are going to be talking about the manga for a quick second, so if you're not caught up to chapter 236, I highly advise that you click off as of right now. I'll give you a second. Alright, y'all had y'all chance. Now, of course, the events from the chapter that I'm talking about is when one night Shigaraki's quirk manifested, and with it, he soloed his family, zero difficulty, GG no re. And I bring that up to suggest the fact that there's no way incidences like this doesn't happen more often. We do not have any knowledge of any protocols or methods being used in the series to ensure that a child discovers their quirk in a safe manner. And back to my fire quirk analogy, y'all remember back in The Incredibles where they had that little spin-off where the babysitter was watching over Jack while the Incredibles were out doing their thing, and he started awakening all those superpowers and she didn't know how to deal with it? That would kind of sort of be the case here. Now, of course, the parents would have a little bit more of a heads up of what to expect depending on their quirks. However, the timing still matters because chances are you would not be able to watch your child 24/7 to assure that they don't burn the house to the ground, you know what I'm saying? And these are just children who are experiencing their quirk for the first time, so you really can't expect them to know everything about it right off the bat. Another possible example of this that I thought of is Tokiomi and Dark Shadow. Now, we've seen how crazy my boy Dark Shadow can get back in season 3 in the Forest Training Camp arc when the villains attacked the secret location and Tokiomi lost control of Dark Shadow. Now, we know how Tokiomi has a harder time controlling Dark Shadow at night, or at the very least in the dark, as well as when his emotions are clustered, so it's not that much of a stretch thinking about how his quirk awakening could have very easily played out the same way it did for Shigaraki in his Decay quirk awakening. With that being said, while Dark Shadow is stronger at night, he is subsequently weaker during the day, so had Tokiomi discovered his quirk at this time, which he most likely did, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal. It would have been much easier for him to tame his quirk and get a handle on it. However, had this happened at night, things could have easily ended much different with Dark Shadow running rampant and Tokiomi being the catalyst.
Tokiomi, no!
You eat all my beans, nigga!
But speaking about Tokiomi,
Bruh, look at this dude.
many people in the My Hero Academia universe I bit my tongue. Many people in the My Hero Academia universe have had their physical appearance directly affected by their quirk, whether it be Todoroki's hair, all of Majin Babe, or many others such as bruh. I bring this up to suggest the fact that there are different strains of quirks. I'm not talking about there being different kinds of quirks because that's obvious. I'm saying that there's a chance that some quirks are inherently different than others. This theory had all but been confirmed in chapter 217 when the most insecure Chad of Class B, Monoma, tried to copy Irie's quirk so Mr. Aizawa can get a better idea on how it works. He tells us his power only copies the bare bones essence of a quirk, but if the copied ability needs to convert some sort of stockpiled resource, then he's essentially fucked. So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, it's kind of been confirmed that there's different kinds of quirks, but how can I call this a My Hero Academia theory if I didn't?
Go beyond!
Here's where we start to get into that good old headcanon and discuss exactly what I think is the 411 involving quirks. But before that, I think it's pretty safe to say that quirks are, or at the very least, work the same as genetics, being passed down from generation to generation. With that being said, I believe that quirks themselves work very similar to genetics, as we have dominant traits and recessive traits. Just like how it determines the color of your eyes, I believe the same holds true for quirks. For example, the Todoroki family. Now, I did say we were talking headcanon here. So right now, and until further notice, Dabi is Toya. As we all know, the Todoroki family basically consists of fire and or ice quirk users. Now I believe both those quirks are dominant traits for the very reason that according to brightstorm.com, aka not me bruh, in both codominance and incomplete dominance, both alleles for a trait are dominant. In codominance, a heterozygous individual expresses both simultaneously without any blending. An example of codominance is a roan cow, which has red hairs and white hairs. Man, I click on a My Hero Academia video, you over here talking about the genetics of f***ing cows, bruh. Get on with it! I mean, come on, man, I'm not calling the Todoroki family cows or anything, but they even had the red and white hair analogy, so I think we're onto something. Another reason why I think this might be the case is because of the part that specifically states the individuals express both traits without blending, which makes perfect sense because I'm sure it'd be pretty hard to actively blend a fire and ice quirk. I mean, you could, but that's gonna have to be a theory for another video. I also think there's such things called regressive quirks, or what I will call subquirks. Now, subquirks are quirks that are, through lack of better terms, attributes to the user's actual quirks. We saw this firsthand in the fight between All Might and All For One, when at the final clash, All For One put all those random buffs to his arm before attacking All Might. Another place I believe we see this is with once again the Todoroki family, because if Dabi is indeed a part of the Todoroki family, then this theory is all but confirmed. I mean, think about it. Both Endeavor and Shoto have fire quirks that they use all the time. Sure, they can still overheat if they use it for too long, but they still have some sort of fire resistance to them. I mean, hell, that's practically the only logical way Todoroki survived Bakugo's howitzer impact in the sports festival. But, I mean, I digress. It's obvious they have fire resistance, but Dabi doesn't. I mean, to be honest, Dabi doesn't even really have to be a part of the Todoroki family for this theory to hold any weight because they are both fire users, however only one of them suffer injuries due to their quirk. Possibly because Dabi lacks the fire resistance sub-quirk needed to negate any negative effects using his quirk. Now, where I start to lose ground in the whole quirks or genetics theory is where in the series, quirk users can train their abilities to make them better. Quirk users who push their limits can make their quirk stronger, get a better understanding on how to use their quirk, or even gain a whole new ability related to that quirk. Now, we can do that too, but not necessarily. It's not like I can train my eyes hard enough to make them change colors, you know. It's not like I'm a new Uchiha or anything. But uncovering this kind of information really makes you think, how far can a person really push their quirk? Are there limits, or are we DBZing this bitch and quirks can break their limits again and again? I mean, that would put a whole new meaning to Plus Ultra. As United States Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld once said,
is that there are known knowns and that there are known unknowns, but there's also unknown unknowns. Things we don't know that we don't know.
What?
My Hero Academia is a series that is hopefully far from over, and it feels like we've only scratched the surface of what's to come, as well as there's still so much we need to learn about the quirks and their properties. We have quirks that have a very simple and straightforward scientific explanation, and we also have quirks that go beyond the supernatural. And holy f***, do not get me started on